So we're going to be making three-dimensional cities. And we're going to be actually making them right on these bags, okay? But your first thing you're going to do is make a quick sketch using your pencil and your characteristics of art. So lines, shapes. We're not going to add color. We can add texture for what you want to have on your bag, okay? So I'm going to leave a little area right at the bottom of my bag. This is going to be blank. That's going to be my street. Okay, we're going to leave that blank. Maybe eventually we'll paint it black, but I think today we're just leaving it blank. Okay? If you want to, when you get to your bag and you want to trace over that with a Sharpie, great. Now, with James Rizzi cities, they're very playful, very colorful, not realistic, okay? So some of the buildings don't look like they really could happen. You are going to want to change height. You want to have some shorter buildings, some medium height buildings, some taller buildings. And we're going to overlap, meaning you're going to have one building here and then one building's going to go behind it. So you have to think about that. So I'm going to start with my front building. So I'm going to have a building that has kind of a step like this. Okay. And then I would like to have another building over here that kind of does a similar thing, but it's going to be a little taller. Come down. Now I have to remember I'm going to be painting inside these, so I don't want to lose my mind and make them too complicated, right? But I may want to say, okay, right here, so it's coming from behind there. It's going to be a double step, and then it's going to come down and go off. Maybe in the middle, I'm going to have another bigger building coming up, and it's just going to have a big rectangle. And I might not want, something looks pretty empty over here, so maybe I'll put another rectangle building right there. Now, about those buildings, Mr. James Rizzi, has eyes on all his buildings. We worked on these last year, guys, when we did our, it was a long drawing and everybody really enjoyed it. You don't have to have faces on all your buildings, but you do have to have details like windows and doors. If you want to add faces, that is totally fine with me. So I might say, okay, this building, I'm going to have some big windows. Oh my goodness, it's already looking like eyes. If you want to turn them into eyes, go for it. If you just want the windows, that's okay too. Some of you did a really nice job last year making spooky haunted houses. Just make sure you guys all have a way for people to get into your buildings, okay? So I have a basic plan here. I don't want to spend all my time doing this part. I can do that right on my paper bag. So once I know where all my buildings are going to be, I'm switching. And I'm drawing on my paper bag. Now, your paper bag is a lot smaller than what you just drew, so think about that. Remember, you're going to first, right down here, leave a strip. My strip is about, think of it as 2 fingers wide. That's my road, right? And I'm going to have to start making my buildings a little bit smaller and maybe a little bit taller. And then I'm going to go up from there. And if you wanted to change any of your buildings, now would be your chance. I'm going to shrink that building down just a smidge. And then I'm going to have that building go up. And then come down all the way to the ground. This one has 1 step, 2 steps, making that a little taller. And it's going to come off right there. So I have my buildings. There's a lot of space up here. If I wanted to go above that, I could, because my paper in my bag is longer than this one. So I might just do a little bit taller and make kind of a funky building here that has eyes. Those are going to be my big eyes on either side. And maybe one building over here that has a triangle float. Each of our buildings is going to look a little different. Remember when we were drawing our Rizzi buildings last year? Now's the time to make them interesting. So are you going to add little details like this on your buildings? Are you going to add towers to your buildings? Add those details. It is up to you how you want to add them. Go ahead and start adding those details. When you have your basic plan, go ahead and add those doors and windows. So I went ahead and added all my details. I only have one building that has an eye, and I may or may not keep that. It's a work in progress. Now it's my turn to add Sharpie. I'm going over all those lines with a Sharpie. Whoa, that took longer than I thought. So we may not get past this today, and that is a-okay. I'll have supplies for if you do finish this. There's a lot of detail on my work. I'm hoping that you have just the same amount of detail. But the next step we would be moving into is the monochromatic part.